Hey guys, welcome to your lesson on the pharaoh Hatshepsut for our study of ancient Egypt using my ancient Egypt website. Make sure you go ahead and access the link in the description below to access this particular site. So we've done 2 lessons on Ramses, and now we're moving on to Hatshepsut, the very powerful and famous female pharaoh. So you're to know is Hatshepsut, and you're to be able to is explain the significance of Hatshepsut on ancient Egyptian society. So writing down those at the top of a new page in your book as your success criteria for this lesson. Hatshepsut was so famous not only because she was a female, but because she ruled so well. So essentially she was married to her stepbrother, which is a bit weird now, and she and her stepbrother died, and so she was kind of left alone. And then the next person who was in line for the throne of Pharaoh was Thutmose III, her stepson, and he was too young. So Hatshepsut ruled as queen regent in his place, and then really did such a good job. People, really looked up to her, and she was a really good pharaoh for Egypt. And you can learn all about that by watching the TED Ed video on Hatshepsut here. It does a really good job of summarizing her. After that, guys, I want you to write these notes in your book. So Hatshepsut was the first ever female pharaoh of Egypt in her own right. She was known for her intelligence and ability to trade with other countries and civilizations. Hatshepsut became pharaoh after her stepson died, and then she told everyone that her real father was a god, and this clever tactic allowed her to become pharaoh. So writing that down in your books. The next step, guys, is to just have a look at Hatshepsut's family tree, which I've drawn up. So you can see she was married to her stepbrother Thutmose II, who then died, and then Thutmose III took over from Thutmose II. But since he was too young, Hatshepsut ruled in his place as queen regent until he was old enough. Your first activity, guys, is to answer these 13 comprehension questions, and you can get a bit of help with those, not only with the information you've been provided with, but this really handy website from Duxters. They do a really good job of summarizing history, in particular ancient history, for kids in year 7 and 8 in junior high school as well. So they'll be able to help you out to answer some of these questions. After you answer those ones, guys, you've got some source work, 2 sources here. So your first one is some carving and some hieroglyphics. So what's happening in the source? What is this, a primary or secondary source? And why do you think ancient Egyptians wanted to record this event? What does this event have to do with Hatshepsut as well? Next one, source 2, Hatshepsut's temple. So what can this temple tell us about Hatshepsut's reign as pharaoh? And is the temple a primary or secondary source as well? After that, guys, you've got some questions on her family tree. So who was Hatshepsut's child? So if you follow this cartouche here, which has a key on it, you can see all the relations that Hatshepsut and her family had to each other, who was descendant, who was married to. So you've just got to follow that one there to answer these questions here. And then, as we always do, you can finish off the lesson with a Kahoot as a class. And we'll play it in class as well. And that's a nice little Kahoot on Hatshepsut and the learning you've done this lesson. So guys, thank you for watching, and make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to stay up to date to any of the changes I make to any of my websites, like my ancient Egyptian one, and as well to stay up to date with any new videos I upload. And I'll see you for the Tutankhamun lesson. Thanks, guys.